Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Strength Students Podcast. I'm your co-host, Steve Carty.
And I'm your other guy, Nick Scopoletti.
And we got an episode for you today about back pain, something everyone loves and cares about, cherishes, and it's close to their hearts and close to their spines, literally. So we'll be talking about back pain today. Before we start here, let's start off with a little dad joke action.
Great.
Nick's favorite. Did you hear about the restaurant on the moon?
No.
Great food, no atmosphere. Couple announcements before we start here, guys. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go ahead, like our Facebook page. Go ahead, follow us on Instagram, and then follow us to our automobiles. Everything is at Strength Students Podcast, so if you give that a Google or type that in any search bar, you'll find us.
That's right.
And then go ahead, give us a 5-star review on iTunes and Stitcher. We always appreciate that. Also, go ahead to our YouTube page, guys. Check out our Arm Farm accessory video on YouTube. That goes with our 6-week Arm Farm program to bigger, stronger arms. We actually have a couple people doing that right now. So, been getting good feedback. A lot of people are sore.
Yes.
A lot of people are getting some bigger arms. So, go ahead, check that out. It's free 6-week arm program. We should actually share that again. Let's share that again on like Instagram and Facebook and stuff. But yeah, it'll be on Instagram, Facebook, so you guys can go ahead and download that. Other than that, how you doing, man? How's training going?
Things are good. Life's good, man.
Nice.
Training's good.
What are you doing for training?
Basic. Dude, just being just doing some basic stuff. Push, pull, doing more full body stuff.
Nice.
It's fun. Just trying out new stuff. I get bored pretty quick, so.
Heard that.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I just had my meet last week.
Tell everyone.
Competed. Yeah, it was dope. Actually opened up with 2 super light weights in my snatch, which actually went really well. I kind of needed it. It was kind of like I opened with 145, then 155, which was like super, super light.
Yeah, I
got to my 3rd attempt, and I was talking to my coach, Nate Pagan, episode 2. I was like, yeah, man, those are super light. Let's try to go for something super heavy here. So I jumped all the way up to 180 and was kind of like, all right, this will be kind of a challenge for me. My 2 rep max is 185, but that was, again, super light. So it was literally the polar opposite of how my snatches went the first time I did that meet. So
good.
It was dope. Hit all my snatches, hit 180, which was my best snatch, and then hit 2 of my 3 clean and jerks. Hit 225 was my opener, then 240, which was my 2nd attempt, which was a PR. And then I cleaned 250 for my 3rd attempt and missed the jerk. Almost got it, though.
What a jerk.
What a jerk I am. But yeah, it was good. Overall good meet. So you guys have been following us. We've been talking about it. Meet went well, if you've been wondering. Thanks for wondering, guys. So yeah, time to slide into those DMs, send some news. Enough of this crap. We got to send our news. So this week we have an article about high intensity and how high intensity is kind of on the verge of failing us. So why don't you talk about that article a little bit?
Yeah, the article is from 8 Weeks Out. It's from Joel Jamieson's website. Joel Jamieson, if you don't know who he is the conditioning guy. Who's the UFC fighter? He trades a lot of UFC fighters, Mighty Mouse Johnson, et cetera, et cetera. He's known in the conditioning space. He'd done a lot of metabolic like testing, VO2 max, stuff like that. He also has a cert that I'm definitely going to get. Certified conditioning coach.
Certainly.
Certainly going to get that cert. So, this article is pretty cool, and he brings to light, high intensity has grown rapidly, let's say, over the last, it went from like bodybuilding, steady state cardio on a treadmill to CrossFit kind of brought in, functional movements, moving fast, high intensity, more anaerobic type stuff. And this is kind of an article saying about how it's more or less has kind of failed us because there is we're constantly in a state of fight or flight. We have two parts of our nervous system. We got sympathetic, which is fight or flight, you're fucking flying, right, ripping. And then parasympathetic, which is the recovery one, the rest, digest, relax type deal. So he talks about how, we're never in the parasympathetic. Like, no one is just going for a walk or just doing 20, 30 minutes of cardiac output circuit where it's, some non-eccentric movements or you're not taking time to recover, and it's talking about how it affects the brain and all the other tissues in your body. And also it goes into nutrition a little bit. If you're not feeding it enough, one thing I always tell people is, everything you do in the gym just breaks you down. You're not building any muscle. You build zero muscle lifting in the gym. It's the 23 hours outside of there. Are you sleeping? Are you eating? And are you giving your brain enough fuel? Because your brain's number one instinct, or number one priority, I should say, is to keep you alive. It's not worried about your gains.
Keep you alive.
So that article's great. I think it's something to check out. He gets super sciencey in there, so I don't want to go too in deep to it. But just talking about how having a good balance of not doing the high intensity stuff all the time, even though it's been popular and it's shown to build muscle and burn fat. But in order to build muscle and burn fat, you have to recover. So making sure you're having recovery days and doing recovery type work within your training, not just go.
Yeah, that's when you're actually getting stronger. That's when you're building muscle, and that's when all the good stuff is happening. It's not when you're training, but when you're recovering. So it's actually something I've thought a little bit about too and considered, and kind of tweaking my training a little bit with how many days am I going super high intense? Am I doing that every day, or am I doing that maybe twice a week? And what am I doing on those other days to actually get stronger and recover and get better? Because that's when it all happens, when you're chilling, recovering. So definitely a good article. Go ahead, check that out. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to talk about back pain, how to prevent it, and how to keep a healthy back during training. So be right back.
We'll be right back.
Want more of the Strength Students Podcast? Go check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, make sure you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and on Stitcher. Stitcher, I just met her.
Hello.
Welcome back, crew.
Welcome
Strength Students
back.
Podcast here. And we are talking today about back pain, how to prevent back pain. Yeah, Back Mechanic by Stu McGill.
You can see I've read it a little bit and tagged it out.
So we're going to talk all about back pain today, according to Dr. Stu McGill. So
Randy Watson.
So this is a book that you've been kind of diving into the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done. I just have to finish 2 more chapters.
Oh, good. So we're going to talk about what you learned, Nick. Yeah, we're going to talk about back pain. So my first question is, in terms of training, right? So let's just keep it in terms of training. What is the most common root of back pain and why people have these pains? Is it certain exercises people are doing? Is it things people aren't doing? What have you found is the most, or what, especially according to Dr. McGill, what is the most common source of back pain?
It varies. He goes over so much stuff, but I think for everyone it's different. If someone who's not a strength athlete, example, has back pain, chances are it's not from them lifting weights and stuff like that. What he talks about is spine hygiene. So he talks about, basic everyday movements. How do you tie your shoes? How do you sit in a chair? How do you get up off the toilet? He goes through a lot of basic movements that people just take for granted. How do you pick up weights when you're a personal trainer and you're changing your clients' weights? Or when you're training yourself, how do you pick them up? Basically having flawless spine hygiene. Back pain is, people have slip discs, people that work labor jobs, there's people that have just had accidents, there's people that just over time, and this is in my case, and that's why I read this book. Well, I read it for multiple reasons, but in my case, just somehow all of a sudden just back pain just started kind of creeping in a little bit. And it was just, doing shit, doing stuff you take for granted. Like just go, I'm just going to warm up a little bit and I'll be good, as opposed to having a specific warm-up, getting your core temperature up, doing stuff like that. The causes of back pain can be infinite, and he goes over a ton of myths and misconceptions behind a lot of the common issues that are prevalent today in that $90 billion industry of back surgeries.
So what are some of those myths that he goes over as far as back pain?
Let me stand away from this mic. A couple of things are stretching. I think that's one of the biggest ones, is that people, and I think you and I working in commercial gyms probably see this a lot, right? You see a guy who just stretches a lot. Now, there is strategic stretching. There's ways to mobilize hips, maybe a little hip flexor stuff, but there's people doing extreme stuff with stretching. Most people think, back pain is caused by tight hamstrings, therefore they will stretch their hamstrings and do things like that. The reason why, and this is what I've found more and more, besides the fact of breathing and controlling your diaphragm, that would probably be almost, I would say, number one. But the reason why people are tight, for the audio, I'm making quotations here. The reason why people are tight,
tractor beam,
is because if you don't have proximal, so proximal means close to your core stiffness, not just your belly and your abs, but your glutes, then you can't have distal mobility. So things can't move. And an example Stuart McGill will give, if you have to wiggle your finger like so, your wrist has to stiffen. If I have to move my arm, shoulder has to stiffen, so on and so forth, right? These tightnesses can be cured with doing things like focusing more on core stability. Obviously, going through proper assessment and stuff like that is important, but I'll speak from my client's perspective and what I've seen and my personal perspective. Yanking on hip flexors or getting into certain positions, your body's always trying to protect itself from itself, right? So when you have tight quads or tight whatever, hamstrings, tight whatever you think it is, my hips hurt, your body's trying to hold on. It's trying to create stiffness because you don't have enough core stiffness or stability to translate that motion, right? So that's all your core is there for. It's not there to do sit-ups. It's not there to just look good. It's there to transfer action to your peripherals, to your limbs, right? So chances are most people's tightness can be cured by just focusing on proper mechanics, proper core stiffness, and McGill gives his big three, which we'll probably get into. But yeah, I would say that is one of the, it's not, the biggest thing, but for what I've experienced, especially as trainers, you see people just endlessly stretching all the time, they think they're tight. It's usually a lack of stability. When you put them on, example, McGill's big three is a bird dog, and we could do a video on this too. Bird dog, McGill crunch, and side plank. I can't tell you how.
We have done a video on that.
Have we? Did we?
Yeah, anti-core.
Oh, yeah.
Did all that shit.
We did that a little bit. But like specific, whatever. I'm tired. Anyways, what I'm talking about is, people that have tight this, tight that, and then you put them on all fours, which is a very stable position. I mean, children crawl. That's how we learn how to, right? And you have them do a bird dog, opposite leg, opposite arm, reaching out, and they're shaking all over the place. So it has nothing. You're giving them a stable serve. You're putting them on the floor. You can't get more stable than the floor. And if they can't create stability on this all fours position, then what do you think is going to happen when you load them up with a squat, a deadlift, if they go for a run, if they're doing overhead work, whatever? So I think that is one of the biggest things in this book was like having tuned mobility. You don't need to be, and he goes and he goes into stuff about Pilates and yoga and how some stuff is just not good and has science to back it up. Not that those practices themselves aren't good, but certain things within those practices shouldn't be done if you have back pain.
So what are some of the top things that you quote unquote shouldn't be doing, or some things that maybe aren't helping your back? What are these things that you shouldn't be doing? Biggest
thing, one of the things he always harps on is sit-ups. The amount of shearing force on the spine, on the low back. He has, a whole bunch of articles about that. And, we've done it with our anti-core training video. You could go see that on our YouTube channel.
Word.
Not flexing, not extending. Like, yes, you have to get to those motions, but being stable, being able to transfer force. So I would say sit-ups is one of the biggest things. But also, and we can get into this later, the book gives you a whole way to assess yourself. And I did all the tests. There's about 8 tests, and I did them all myself to find what postures and what positions are bad for me. And for some people, they're very different. And he does the variety. I'm not going to go over it. You got to buy this book and read it for yourself if you do have back pain. And it's just, for me, it's not being overly flexed, overly extended. It's being in more of an upright, neutral position. So more of a, front squatting is good for me as opposed to a back squat, things like that. Just find pain-free movements. But he definitely sit-ups and definitely overstretching. But sit-ups is a pretty big one.
What about if we're talking like major lifts? Like, are there any major lifts? We're talking like the big lifts, like squatting, deadlifts, things like that. Are there things that people should or shouldn't be doing that he talks about? He does
go over. He teaches basic. It really starts from the beginning, like basic hip hinging stuff, basic squatting stuff, squatting to a chair, or you could even say a box squat. Which everyone knows what that is, right? Sitting down to a box. One of the biggest mistakes, and I was recently helping someone with this, going into the squat, people just drop. Like, they will drop into the squat, knees shoot forward. That's one of the things that are traumatic. Now, if you do that with load, it's especially traumatic. But I'm talking about, I've seen people do it with just body weight. So teaching people how to sit back into their hamstrings, into their glutes, reach back with their hips. That is, for the squat, he definitely goes over that, about the hip hinge, going too far forward, or just like not focusing on creating tension with your lats and breaking the bar, and little things, tucking the chin, having neutral spine with the deadlift. And then, he said about the bench press too. He said in there, he's had guys with horrible back pain, but they can still get on a bench and bench press a lot. He goes, but you know what? At the end of the day, like, if that's all you could do, but they could barely walk through the door, what's the point? So
true.
As far as specific lifts, he just talks about, getting into your glutes and hamstrings and stuff like that, which is just going to protect your back.
Word. Anything else you should avoid, stay away from? Anything else hazardous? Mainly things that people tend to do. Or is that pretty much it?
I mean, essentially, as far as those movements, the biggest thing to walk away with is the big 3, the spine hygiene thing. It's a daily thing. If you're a strength athlete, which most of our audience is, I'm not just talking about regular, everyday people. If you're a strength athlete, your spine is pretty important, right? It's pretty important no matter who you are.
Well, if you're anyone, yeah.
No matter who you are, but if you're loading it up and you're doing stuff and you're competing in this and that, why wouldn't you just want to know about this,
Preach.
There's some non-negotiable stuff. Being able to segment, do cat camel. So we did that on our anti-core video. Being able to, flex extended the spine, have some movement. Then doing the big 3, the bird dog, the little McGill crunch, and the side plank. And going for walks. How that helps build, believe it or not, core strength. And how it helps your back. Just how it is with gait and walking. Go into
that a little more. How does walking play into back health?
So he actually calls it in the book. He calls it back balm, like back balm,
classic
to relieve some pain. And then this was something that happened to me, and this will tell you how weak my core was. And this was a light bulb moment for me in this book. So walking, you're basically, you're rotating, you're on one leg. It's a single leg movement in a way, right? Your QL, quadratus lumborum, which is right on your spine, your glute, everything has to get, obliques are turned on when you're walking. Part of Brian Carroll's protocol was 15 minutes of interval walking 3 times a day. So walking with a serious arm swing just to get the rotation and get the obliques, glutes, and your QL firing.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So that's what walking does. One of the things I found is that if I lifted heavy or did whatever and probably didn't warm up enough and all that shit that I usually do, Then I would go for a walk, and and as I walked, my back would hurt. And I said to myself, how are you 29 years old and you're walking and your back hurts? What the hell is going on? So in the book, he addresses that. He talks about it, if walking is used as a diagnostic test in a way too. There's a million tests, but one of them is, if you walk and your pain gets worse, then you lack core resiliency. Because your core is trying to fire, and it's trying to move your body, and you start to have pain. That's a sign that it's not resilient enough, and the big three need to be done multiple times a day, not just that 10-15 minutes before your session. Movement needs to be constant, even if it's at a low base. It doesn't have to all be done right this 15 minutes. I have to do all these correctives and all these things. Do them on the other days. You got 10 minutes, you're home, do them. I've been doing it just in this last week. Please don't kick the microphone, sir. And it's made a difference. So that's what I would say about that.
Okay. And so, week to week, whether it be week to week, day to day, what should people be doing, even if you do have back pain, don't have back pain, want to prevent back pain, what should you be doing on a weekly basis?
Biggest thing, and he gives the outline in the book, being able to segment, so move the spine, get on all fours, do your cat camel, do your big three, bird dog, McGill crunch, side plank, and walk 30 minutes a day.
That's the recipe.
That is...
to keep a healthy back.
That's pretty much it. He gives you that in the book. He goes, this has gotten a lot of people out of pain.
Word.
Just that itself, doing the big three, doing what I just previously stated, it's only going to help. So that's what I would say, and if you are, that's for anyone. If you are in serious pain or if you are in pain, buy this book, self-assess what positions are bad for you, find out what's going on. I mean, this guy knows his stuff. It's not just, and he goes into a lot of the medical myths too about how, PTs will do things that just don't help the spine, like flattening it into the massage table.
Yeah, go over that a little bit. What are some, I guess, in the PT world too, because that's where we're at. You're hurt, you're injured, you go to PT. So what's going on in the PT world?
And if PT doesn't work, you
working
get
against
surgery.
Back pain.
There's not much. They do some assessment, but you and I have worked in clinics. There's a protocol. They are limited by kind of what they could do and insurance, and some, not all, just lack the knowledge. I would honestly say there's a better shot at, trainers are on the forefront of the health industry, stuff like that, the medical industry, I would even say. Just getting people, they see you more than they see their doctor. And when they do see their doctor, it's about 10 minutes, and they're out, in and out. Oh, your back hurts? Okay, do this. Here's this pill. Take this. That's another huge downfall of our medical system. But just the PTs, everything I stated before, the PTs are doing in clinics, they are overstretching, thinking it's tight, not doing enough stability work, just doing the wrong stuff, doing the, not knowing enough. And they have their protocols, and they're smart people, but there's some people that just don't know. And, Dr. Stuart McGill is not a PT, he's not a medical doctor, but this is all he's done for the last 35 years. And I feel like there's a little ego.
He's a motherfucking back doctor, though, so best believe that.
That's what I'm saying. So, there's, you need to remove, I think there's some people don't want to, buy into it or whatever, but you're not buying into anything. This guy's helped people. It's proven.
I'll add a little something too, not from any sort of academic knowledge or anything like that, but just from personal experience and things that I've been issued, and how I kind of got over my my back pain as well, because I had some pretty severe lower back disc issues, right? So some pretty severe low back disc issues, classic stuff. I'm sure a high percentage of strength training athletes go through this. One of the biggest things is, we have this localized pain. So say the pain is on the lower side, the lower right side of my back. I think intuition and kind of common sense would point and say, okay, so what in that area is causing this? When it might not be something in that area that's causing that back pain. Like for me, it was a lot of the tight muscles in my foot that was causing poor movement in my ankles, which was going up to my knees, which was going up to my back. And, God knows how I may be twisted one time or was twisting or shearing and caused the bulging in my back.
It happened in football too, correct?
Yeah, but it's instead of thinking, all right, what muscles in my back are tight or what do I need to fix about my back? Maybe it's not your back. Maybe I always tell people, check your feet first. Are the muscles in your feet tight? Your calves tight? Go from there. I did a lot of like lacrosse ball, like rolling my feet out, rolling the muscles in my feet out, because those muscles in your feet do travel all the way up to your spine, right? So there are muscles that start at your foot, they go all the way up your leg and are finished at your spine. So
yeah, you have deep, to add to that, you have deep fascial lines that basically make an X going from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head.
Exactly. So for me, the two big things I did was rolling out the muscles in my feet and flossing my hips. So getting a band around my hip and getting into like a Spider-Man stretch position and just rotating my hips in circles and just flossing the area out. So, it was kind of my hips, which is closer to my spine, and my feet, which are not close to my spine, and those were kind of the main culprits. So it may not be localized. It may not be your back causing your back pain. It could be other things. So watch out for that too.
Yeah, he goes into that as well, if it's just pain or if it's lack of stability or if you actually have a bulge disc. There's tests to see if you actually do have one.
Right. Anything else want to add here?
You need to be able to control your spine, move it segment by segment, and also create stability around it. That is the biggest thing. Address stability and address breathing. I don't think I've worked with enough people at this point where I could tell you that is it. I will give a quick example. Had an assessment with a young girl, played college sports, about 32 years old. Active, we're not talking, did her FMS, she moves fine, didn't have to worry about much. She's a runner. Had some calf, some shin splints, some tight hamstrings, all that deal. Check her breathing. Put her on the ground, do some crocodile breathing. Couldn't breathe into her belly. And, we did about 10 deep breaths. She got up, she stood up and touched her toes. And she was looked at me I was like, sometimes, instead of looping a band around your foot and ripping on your hamstrings, just learn how to breathe.
Right.
And, even Tony the other day has back pain. Put her on the ground. Guess what? Cannot breathe to save her life. Very lordotic. She cannot get into her diaphragm. You put her on her belly. Again, stable position. Your belly's supposed to push out. Her didn't move. So it's not about stretching or doing glute bridges or doing this, and that. Sometimes it's super basic. And I would say find someone that knows what the hell they're doing. Even though, PTs and doctors, I'm not going to say anything because doctors save lives and PTs, there's some brilliant ones out there, but make sure the clinician knows what they're doing. Buy the book.
Yeah.
Check it, man. Bring it with you.
Go get Back Mechanic, Dr. Stu McGill. Go get it. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to wrap it up. Want more of the Strength Students podcast? Go check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, make sure you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and on Stitcher. Stitcher, I just met her. We're back after talking about back. Get it? So we are going to wrap you guys up today. We are going to do a segment we like to call Lightning Round. Nick and I are going to go through some lightning round questions with each other. Get to know us a little more. Folks, you guys can play along at home too if you're keeping score. All right, Nick, you're going to do round 1, and I'm going to do round 2.
Dope.
Ready?
Where's round? Oh, you're doing round 1?
I'm going right now.
Okay.
All right, lightning round. 3, 2, 1, and go. Texting or talking?
Texting, unfortunately.
Wow.
Well, it depends on the person.
Okay. Great answer. Good start. Favorite day of the week?
I don't know. I kind of like Thursdays.
Okay, solid.
I don't know why.
Thursdays, why?
I have a pretty, my schedule at work's pretty laid back. I feel like I get a lot done on, like, I get into a groove by Thursday. Like, Monday, Tuesday, better, but, like, by Thursday, I'm fucking ready. And
Ready
then
to
it lasts the whole weekend, and then by Monday, I don't know, I guess I get off track. But
I like that. Okay.
I like Thursdays.
Favorite city in the U.S. besides the one that you live in?
Hartford? No,
You live in Hartford.
I know. I was going to say it anyways. Favorite city in the U.S.? God damn. Miami's nice to visit.
Yeah, classic.
Visit.
Good times there.
Couldn't live there.
Nickname your parents used to call you?
Unfortunately, they never called me.
That got deep.
No, they just my parents called me by my full name, Nicholas. They didn't like Nick.
Classic.
They didn't
Classic
like-
full namer.
Yeah.
You're a full namer.
I'm a
Classic. Last song you downloaded, or in this case, saved on Spotify.
Standing on the top, Rick James and the Temptations.
Yes, you showed me that before. Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to talk to animals?
Definitely speak every language of the world.
That would actually, that would be a pretty dope skill. I mean, the animals one would be sick. That'd be
I don't
amazing.
give a
But
shit.
it's like
That would
the
be dope.
language one would be so useful. Okay,
I
good
wonder-
choice.
yeah.
Favorite holiday?
Like Dr. Doolittle. I like New Year's or Halloween. Oh, it's tough.
Pick one. Go.
New Year's.
Okay. How long does it take you to get ready in the morning, or just always? Let's get
Now?
minutes here. Let's get minutes. Like a time.
Well, are we talking like I meditate, I read? Like, are we counting that? Or are we just talking about like getting my clothes on? And
Let's
get
just
out
say
the door?
getting ready. Yeah. Just
Get
getting
clothes
ready.
on out the door.
Yeah, sure. Showering, getting ready.
I'm a night shower. I don't like to shower in the morning. I need to shower right before I go to bed. I don't know why. It relaxes me. Yeah, probably like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I gotta get my food. I do a lot. I have a lot of shit going on in the morning, but
Okay, cool.
that's not bad. 20 minutes, probably.
20 minutes. That's not bad.
Maybe less.
Scale 1 to 10. How good a driver are you?
I think I'm like a 9.
Oh, wow. Okay. You're going to rank himself high there. All right. At what age do you want
I've been
to...
told I'm a very good driver by multiple people.
Okay.
They enjoy driving with me. They say I'm relaxing.
At what age do you want to retire?
50.
50. Okay.
No, I'm kidding. That's
We better
I'd like to be pretty. I know we better start fucking ripping.
get a move on with this podcast.
I'd like to be probably like I don't want to probably before the age of probably 60, late 50s would be dope.
Got you. Invisibility or super strength?
Oh man, probably invisibility. As far as like our strength podcast, but
You
like that would be fucking cool.
You creep.
Watch this guy in action.
Is it wrong for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers? Yes or no?
No.
Nice. Very good. Nice job. I think you did a good job. You scored a 69. Nice work.
I feel like you're gonna get a similar score.
All right, my turn. All right, lightning round. Round 2 with Steve Carty of the Strength Students Podcast.
You ready, Steven?
Ready.
Scale of 1 to 10. How good are you at keeping secrets?
Oh. I'm going to go 6. 6.
I think you're pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on how good a friend it is and how important the secret is, I think.
That's like me with texting and talking.
Yeah,
Same
right.
deal. Ariel or Jasmine?
The Disney characters.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what
Ariel.
they mean. Oh. Okay.
Sorry. Jasmine's probably got a dark stratosphere. Sorry.
Do you want to explain to everyone? No, we're not going into that. First celebrity crush.
First celebrity crush that I can remember, Pamela Anderson.
Yes.
I wouldn't even say celebrity crush. I'd say like first prepubescent boner. Pamela Anderson.
Mine's like every girl on Spring Break MTV. Dawn or dusk?
Dusk. Night, baby. Night all day.
Ooh, this is fucking dope. If you could travel back in time, what period would you go to?
If I could travel back in time, I would go to... Oh, man. Wow. I would like to go to... like fucking Paleolithic times. Like hunter-gatherer.
Too far.
Am I living there or am I just visiting there for a short period of time? I'm saying Paleolithic, dude. Like back in the
Dude,
day,
you like the fucking paleo diet?
Dude, paleo, dude. I could go meet Rob Wolf. Be sick. He lived then, right?
Yeah, he was alive back then. Okay. Next. Do you snore?
I think sometimes, like 10% of the time.
Depends if you're sick or not.
No. It depends on if I sleep on my. When I sleep on my back, I snore, but I don't sleep on my back. But sometimes I'll like
End up on your
accidentally end up on my back, and that's when I'll really start ripping.
Place you most want to travel?
I want to go on an African safari. That's number
Okay.
one on the old list.
Now this one I think I know, but we'll see. Favorite junk food?
Favorite junk food?
You name it.
Crap. Are we talking candy or are we talking like
I guess anything that's off the diet. I mean, I know.
Pizza.
Yeah, there we go. Just knew that was coming.
That's a good one.
Favorite childhood TV show?
Dragon Ball Z.
Ugh.
No hesitation. Next. Also
real?
wrestling. I loved wrestling.
Oh,
WWF.
you're kidding. Favorite season?
Favorite season? Spring. Easily spring, yeah. I mean, it's not the intensity of summer, but it's also not cold anymore. It's like the beginning of summer, the excitement of summer is coming, and like we just had like months of cold weather, and now it's like, all right, it's getting warm, the sun's out, things are popping up, flowers, sex with animals. Well, no, not us, but like the animals are having sex with each other.
Boy, you need to really clarify.
Whatever.
All right.
I like what I like.
Last Halloween costume.
I was just an anonymous wrestler this past Halloween a couple of weeks ago, actually. Well, last month. I had a bunch of materials from a couple of wrestling costumes, and I just kind of put them together. I was just generic wrestler. I was the champ. That's what I called myself, the champ.
Jesus. Cake or pie?
Cake.
Okay.
Ice cream motherfucking cake, too, with the little crunchies in it. I like lemon cake, though. My mom makes lemon cake for me every birthday.
Oh.
Lemon frosting, lemon cake. Look it up.
Birthday's coming up. Last one. Do you ever post inspirational quotes on social media?
Rarely. I'll do it for like my coaching, which is my actual Instagram, but I'll like post them on there sometimes, but rare. We're talking like less than 5% of the time.
Do you ever like put like live it up and drink it down out with
Live,
my
laugh,
girls?
love.
It's my favorite.
Yeah. Siobhan Blancafleur is good at that. She loves quotes. So
You know what? I've been meaning to ask her for since we've
like
known her.
every post is a quote.
Where do you
Where do you get all
find
these
them?
quotes? Do you make them up? We're gonna ask Siobhan.
Yeah.
We'll ask Siobhan. We'll have a whole episode about it. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. Thank you for listening to our lightning round questions. Hopefully, you guys got to know more about us, and hopefully, you got to know more about back pain and Dr. Stu McGill, who's a back genius. Make sure you guys go get the book, Back Mechanic,
Yes.
if you have any sort of back issues.
And gift of injury. I think there's like a Cyber Monday sale going on.
We literally have no financial gain from this. It's just something that we've read and
Pretty
we've
much.
talked to Stu McGill and we think it's legit stuff. So go check those things out. And before we go, we just want to say thank you guys. We appreciate all of our listeners, all of our views, everything, all of our downloads every week. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you guys go like, follow, subscribe, our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter. Go ahead, check us out on iTunes and Stitcher. Make sure you guys subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. And we will see you next episode.
Bye, guys.
Deuces. Keep that streak alive. Want more of the Strength Students podcast? Go check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, make sure you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and on Stitcher. Stitcher, I just met her.